advice up and down the coast in general is the storm is just going to run right along the coast. We're sure the similarities of Dorian's forecast path to the path that Matthew followed a few years ago doesn't mean they're going to have necessarily the same impact. So I know when you say Hurricane Matthew, everybody goes, oh no, here we go. Let's take a look at where the storm is right now. It's still just parked over the Bahamas. Grand Bahama Island is where that storm is centered. It's just been pummeling the island for the past basically 24 hours. So picture the winds of an EF4 tornado. That's capable of doing a tremendous amount of damage in 20 seconds. They've had that kind of wind for 20 hours on Grand Bahama Island. The winds were 185 miles an hour yesterday. The storm is beginning to weaken a little bit, but it's still a strong Category 4 storm. 155 mile an hour sustained winds right around that eye wall with gusts to 190 miles an hour. And it is almost parked. It's crawling to the west-northwest at 1 mile an hour. Eventually, it's going to start to pick up a little bit more speed. It's not going to happen to any great extent today. Let's zoom in, show you the forecast path for the storm. That's all the distance it's going to go between right now and 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. That is not very far. It's going to turn to the north and run parallel to the coast of Florida. That means the Florida coast is still going to get significant storm surge, significant beach erosion, some heavy rain bands moving inland as well. But the storm, because it's going to be interacting with land, even though the center stays offshore, those outer bands are still going to be over land, and that slows the rotation down a bit. It's going to weaken to those 110 mile an hour sustained winds by Thursday morning. Strong Category 2 storm at that point as it's off the coast of South Carolina. Forecast to run right along the coast as it moves past the coast of North Carolina, just brushing past Wilmington and Wrightsville Beach, and then eventually towards the Outer Banks. That's going to happen Thursday and Thursday night. Of course, the red line is where we expect the storm to go. The cone, the yellow area, indicates that uncertainty because there's still a possibility it goes farther out to sea. Every mile in that direction would help us out. Also the possibility that it makes landfall in South Carolina and tracks up into central North Carolina. That would bring significantly more rainfall to our neck of the woods. So let's talk about the possibilities. Once it moves through, it's going to race off to the northeast and become post-tropical. We'll start with the winds. This is not likely to be a big wind maker for central North Carolina because the storm is going to be weakening, likely to be centered just offshore. It is likely that Wilmington's going to get those tropical storm force winds by Thursday, but about a 1 in 4, maybe a 1 in 3 chance from the triangle southward that we get those tropical storm force winds, 40 miles an hour or stronger. That's capable of doing some power outage damage, but in general, the coastal areas are going to see the bulk of the wind potential with Dorian as it moves along the coast and then eventually just gets out of here. We're more concerned about the amount of rain that's going to fall with this. Take a look at the big picture perspective in terms of the amount of rain that we expect across central North Carolina through the end of the work week, which is when Dorian will lose its influence on our weather. You go farther northwest of the triangle, west of I-85, less than an inch of total rainfall. You go east of I-95, that's where you're talking about right now, forecasted 2 to 4 inches of rain. Everything depends on the exact path that the storm follows, because if it jogs just a little ways farther inland, all of these colors get pushed farther inland, and in fact, could be pushed substantially farther inland if the storm tracks over land instead of water. I'm going to show you a side-by-side version of a couple different forecast models and how a little difference can result in a big difference from what we actually experience across the area. It's going to come up during the next half hour. But right now, it does look like we're going to get some rain, heaviest east of I-95, localized flooding, certainly going to be possible where you have the potential for that higher impact from the storm and some impact from the tropical storm force winds. The greatest impact overall is going to be along the coast. Again, considering that current projected path right along the North Carolina coast. We'll keep you updated because there's still a lot that can change over the next couple of days.